The young William Shakespeare was growing fast, sharp-eyed, curious, and filled with restless imagination. By his teenage years, Stratford's narrow streets had become too small for his mind. He read everything he could find: Latin plays, English ballads, the Bible, even legal documents from his father's workshop. He loved language, not just for meaning, but for music. To him, words had rhythm, color, and power. Sometimes, walking by the river Avon, he would whisper lines to himself, small verses about the wind, the water, the people around him. No one knew then that the quiet boy murmuring to the river would one day make the whole world speak his words. But dreams alone could not feed a family. John Shakespeare's debts deepened. His position in the town council was stripped away. The family name, once respected, now carried shame. Neighbors turned their backs. Friends avoided eye contact. Mary Arden tried to keep the household together, but food grew scarce and the warmth in the home dimmed. William saw his father's pride crumble. A man once confident, now broken by poverty. It was a silent lesson about honor, downfall, and the cruel hands of fate. Those themes, pride destroyed, power lost, dignity betrayed, would one day bleed through his tragedy. William probably never went to university. His education never stopped. Life itself became his greatest teacher. He listened to market vendors shouting prices, priests preaching Latin sermons, and drunkards telling wild tales in the tavern. He learned the rhythms of ordinary speech, the poetry in the voices of everyday people. Years later, that rhythm would shape his writing, giving it truth, the kind that makes kings and beggars sound equally human. Suddenly, life changed. At 18, William fell in love, or perhaps found himself caught in a story that moved faster than he expected. Her name was Anne Hathaway, 8 years older than him, from the nearby village of Shottery. She was wise, kind, and steady, a woman who looked at the world with calm eyes while William still burned with youth. In 1582, they married. Anne was already pregnant with their first child, Susanna, born the following spring. 2 years later came the twins, Hamnet and Judith. Marriage brought stability, but also chains. William loved his family, but inside, he felt a quiet ache, the call of something larger than Stratford. The walls of his small hometown seemed to close in. Somewhere beyond, London was calling, the city of smoke, ambition, and dreams. And then, history goes silent. Between 1585 and 1592, there are no records of William Shakespeare. No letters, no documents, no trace. Scholars call this time the lost years. Where was he? Some say he became a school teacher in the countryside. Others whisper that he fled after poaching deer from a nobleman's land. A few believe he joined traveling acting troupes, learning the ways of the stage. Whatever the truth, those 7 silent years were not wasted. When he reappeared, he was no longer a boy from Stratford. He was a man of the theater. London in the late 1500s was wild, bursting with merchants, beggars, nobles, and thieves. The Thames smelled of fish and firewood, the air thick with ambition. Street criers shouted news, and from across the river came the sound of laughter and applause. The theaters were alive. It was the golden age of English drama, and the city was a living stage. Somewhere in that chaos, William arrived. Penniless, unknown, but carrying a fire inside him. No one knows exactly how he began. Maybe he started by holding horses outside playhouses, a humble job for visitors who came to watch performances. Maybe he copied scripts, learned lines, helped backstage. But little by little, his talent shone. He wasn't just another actor. He understood people. He could shape words into emotion, give soul to silence, make laughter and grief dance together. Soon he was writing, first small revisions, then full plays. London had found its new voice. By 1592, William Shakespeare's name appeared in the records of the London stage. He was no longer just a young man from Stratford. He was now an upstart crow, as one jealous rival called him, mocking his success. But behind the insult hid a truth. This man's words had power. His early plays, comedies like The Two Gentlemen of Verona, histories like Henry VI, were drawing crowds. The boy who once watched traveling actors in Stratford was now writing the stories that would make them legends. The hidden years were over. The storm-born child had found
in the quiet town of Stratford's Fold, a boy with he'd come to know. By the river Avon, where the willows sway, a spark of destiny lit the way. Love and loss, a child's refrain. By the river Avon, the boy remained. He learned the sky from birds in flight, wrote his name in fading light, lost a friend one summer's night, and wept beneath the stars so bright. Words grew wild like ivy's climb, twisting